Hello, this is Lisa from LisaArts, www.lisarts.com, and I am drawing this little chipmunk. Um, I want to talk about what I'm doing after I draw the chipmunk because the chipmunk's almost completed. I have a little more depth to get in the fur, so as I go along at this point, I'm adding depth to coloring and coming back with my slice tool, and for some reason the craft slice tool is working very nicely on the shorter fur of a chipmunk. In case you don't know, the slice tool, which is something like a nylon X-Acto blade sort of thing, um, it doesn't just cut away and make fur. That it does. But what it does is create sort of a warp and weft, it's called in papering. I always call it warp and weave for other colors to get in, to get your darks in between. And after all, a pencil stroke is this wide. A hair is at least half that. So it's nice after you add some of your darks to be able to cut them in half, basically, and make even smaller strokes that appear more and more like hair. The other thing it does is as I go along and I'm adding all these colors, you're getting the feeling of that under hair and the different colors of hair. If you ever look at an animal hair on the strand, it can have all the colors of the light and the under fur, and the black may be a tip of it, or down here on the tail, very obviously there's some fur that probably if you pulled it out, poor chipmunk, we're not pulling out your tail, would probably have the black and then the white or gray tip on it so that the strand of hair would have several colors right on that hair. So that's one way to get it. Now what I'm working on now as I move on from the fur and out into the composition more is to put this little guy who's in a sassafras tree, and this is something I discussed with the person who I'm doing this for. She has lots of sassafras trees and chipmunks on their summer home, and so this would be a great thing for them to have. So I'm doing this unique shape of the sassafras tree, but also the chipmunks hiding nicely underneath this big leaf. And to emphasize that, I've put the raindrops coming down to say he's shaded by it, but also maybe there's just been a rain. I don't want it too Disney, but I kind of do because it's getting more personality as I go. So as I go, I will probably add some drops that are running down the log. And I don't know if it's too much to put a drop on his fingertip, but I can always put one on and take it out if I don't like it and decide what's really working. I think it's enough probably that he has his hand out there to see if the rain has stopped. I'll probably just put some drops on the log and maybe a few on some of the leaves here. I'm also deciding where the leaves would be because I want the formation of the leaves the way they grow. They kind of grow together and then they come out from each other up there. It's almost like the top of a palm tree at any given point, that you'll have these leaves coming out. They start out in sort of a pear-shaped leaf, and then they become this three-pointed leaf. I'm going to decide where some of the leaves will be going behind and some in front. which direction they're going, to what side, and um, just how they'll fill the composition so that it'll look realistic. Then back behind, I'll probably just continue to darken and add this very reddish branch that the sassafras tree seems to have. It's not as reddish on the big one, but the reddishness is there and the little spots the same as the smaller branches. So that's what I'm up to now. And I will give you an update when it's done, or maybe somewhere along the line as I go. But there's our chipmunk in a sassafras tree.